This is Prithvi Madukar, also known as the Marketing Nomad. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and we're at episode 309 with the Marketing Nomad. My really good friend, Prit. She is young in age, but a soul that it seems like has been around business for decades. She actually cares about your success. She wants to see you level up. She's more interested in your story than really telling you hers. Although it was a interview that flowed so well, which you will see. Just listen for the knowledge nuggets, break out your notebooks or whatever you digitally take notes with, because you'll be blown away at Prit's story and also the knowledge nuggets she drops that will help you level up. So without further ado, here comes the Marketing Nomad. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I got my awesome sauce girlfriend, sister from another mister, across the pond. Literally, she's across the pond, and she made time later in her evening to come on and spill some solid knowledge nuggets with you, my good friend Prithvi Madukar, and I'm just going to call her Prit going forward because it just makes it a little bit easier, although it's a beautiful name. But she is also known as the Marketing Nomad. She's an entrepreneur, business owner, podcaster, YouTuber, digital nomad, and nano influencer with a zest for life. She started her company, The Marketing Nomad, in Delaware, USA, with the sole purpose of empowering entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and small business owners across the world to implement long-term actionable marketing strategies and help them grow their business with confidence. Her social media platforms guarantee a bucket load of marketing mindset and business tips, along with her quirky sense of humor and side of wit. And I wish I would have met Prit probably about 6 years ago, because I'd probably have leveled up my Time to Shine Today platform even quicker. But now I get access to her, and this is fantastic. So Prit, please come on, introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, it's blue.
Okay.
My favorite color is blue because I think it reminds me to be calm, which is quite the opposite of my nature. So every time I do see blue, it reminds me, hey, Prit, you got to stay calm. You got to cool down. You got to take it slow. So I think that's what the color represents to me.
Yeah, so I think you're more of a purple. But blue's
wow.
in your color wheel, because purple is a blue and a red, right? And I'm purple. Right. Although blue's my
red
favorite
is
color.
Fiery.
Yes.
I think it's perfect. It's probably me trying to balance both sides of my personalities. I think that's great.
I love it. So Prit, you're a young lady, you're rocking it. And so I just want to get to the roots of your little business journey, how it started and how you got to really working with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, please.
Perfect. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Scott. It's an absolute honor for me.
Thank you.
So a little bit about my story. I'm so excited to share it with your listeners. It's got drama, it's got intrigue, it's got everything crazy, and I'm very excited to share that. So my journey actually starts during my engineering days. Sometime during my engineering degree, I realized that I was just not cut out for the engineering degree. I wasn't happy in it. I could not see the next 40 years of my life doing that. And for me as a person, I think it was important for me to find something that I was passionate about and have a career which basically meant something to me. So in my second year of engineering, my dad's a very typical Indian parent. He said I should stop lazing around the house and I should get to do some work, get some real life experience. And I said, with my engineering marks, I don't think anyone's going to hire me. And he, of course, laughed because that was a joke. But he said, he was an entrepreneur himself. He has his own company. Yes. So he actually took me to his company and he said, why don't you work with the website team and figure out the grammatical mistakes in the website, make sure that there's a sort of flow to the website. So I did that. I worked with the team and 8 hours just flew. That was the first time that I felt that I was in my element. And, I also helped my dad with, setting up social media pages because the company had been around at that time for about 25 years, but they hadn't established any online presence. So I helped them set up a Facebook page. I worked with his team, and I kind of analyzed what was important to post, what was not important to post. All of those silly, to me back then it seemed silly because I didn't know it was called marketing at that time. So for me, it was, I was just whiling away my time at home. And instead, now I was doing an internship at my dad's company.
That's awesome.
I came back the next 2 summers and I worked with the team, improved their website, helped them grow their social media pages as well. At the time, there is a very common misconception in the society that I grew up in, and that is that you either have to be an engineer, a lawyer, or a doctor for you to be successful in life.
Got it.
So,
I understand. I have a lot of Indian friends, so I get it. I feel you.
Absolutely. So I completed my engineering degree, or well, I was about to, and here I was thinking that this is not for me. I didn't want to do any of those things. I ruled out doctor very early in my life because, well, I couldn't stand the sight of blood. Okay. And so engineering too wasn't my cup of tea. And I always had an interest in business, in starting something on my own. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. So there was a natural inclination for me with, listening to dining table conversations and listening to them, how they grew their business. I definitely had some sort of interest in starting something on my own. So I decided to apply for MBA universities, and I did get into Rochester Institute of Technology, which is in New York.
Yeah.
So I go there, I complete my engineering degree, I completely shift my focus to business, and I'm there in my first marketing class. And the professor is standing in front and she's just asking questions just to gauge the level of knowledge of the class and where she should start from. And there I was answering every single question, Scott. It was crazy. And I did not have any technical background in marketing. I had absolutely no technical knowledge. I didn't even know what marketing was, to be honest. And these weren't simple questions. They were questions like marketing campaigns from 10 years ago, Coca-Cola marketing campaign 10 years ago, or Maggie campaign 3 years ago. And there I was, I just knew all these things. And it turns out that all my life, my entire focus when I was reading newspaper articles or when I was reading magazines was to absorb information about marketing. I just didn't know it was called marketing.
Right.
So there I was. I even remember exactly what I was wearing that day when it hit me. It hit me so hard that I was meant to be a marketer. So I decided to pursue my passion for marketing. I was so relieved that I found a passion for marketing because the 4 or 5 years of my engineering degree were very confusing for me because everyone else had their life figured out. They knew they wanted to be an engineer. And then there I was saying, well, this is not the path for me, but I also don't know what to do. So I was kind of the odd duck, basically.
Sure.
And finally, when I found my passion, I felt like I fit in somewhere. I had a goal, I had a purpose to my life, all of those things. Completed my MBA, and I got an amazing job at a top solar firm in New York that was on Long Island. And 1 year flew by when I was working at that company. At the time, I was on my student visa, and you get 1 year of training on your student visa.
Okay.
And that's what I did the 1 year of work experience in. So what my employer has to do at that point is convert my student visa into a work visa. The work visa, the process is a lottery. Okay. And unfortunately, my visa was not processed. That meant I had to return back to India. And it was absolutely devastating for me. I was living my best life. I had just found my passion for marketing. I had a direction in my life, and then boom, I was just literally dropped. And I felt like I was starting over from ground zero. It was very painful. I was leaving all my friends behind, and basically a place that I'd called home for 3 years. And it was gut-wrenching. It was absolutely gut-wrenching, Scott. At that time, I kind of thought that, I was already at ground zero. Why not I start something on my own instead of 5 or 10 years down the line? I mean, if it didn't work out a year down the line, then I could just quit that and go back to submitting my resumes on LinkedIn. That was always an option. And I knew that if I didn't take advantage of the situation that I was in, then maybe I might regret it a few years down the line. So I came back to India. But before I came back to India, I had decided that I would become an entrepreneur. I would start something on my own.
Okay.
So when I came back to India, the question starts, what do I do? What do I start something in? And around that time, I realized that I had two passions. One was to travel, and two, marketing. I really wanted to help businesses. And the reason why I wanted to start something on my own was because I didn't want any borders restricting me. I didn't want to be restricted to an industry either. So I decided to start on my own. And I said, why not? I try it for a year, see how it goes.
Sure.
And then take the next steps of, setting up a company and, making it all legal and not, I wouldn't say legal, but just a lot real, I guess I would say.
Make it come to fruition. Correct. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So that's how it happened. I got a few clients within the first year. And over time, it was pretty clear to me that I had something good going on. I kind of had a knack to moving forward in this entrepreneurial journey. So sure. August 2020, I set up my business in Delaware while I was still in India. Okay. And that enabled me to be a location independent consultant. Beautiful. And that's exactly what I am. I'm a digital nomad right now.
I love it. You're living kind of the laptop lifestyle in a sense, because you love your passion of travel, and your family subconsciously posted that in your mind, with those dinner table discussions. And then what you're reading and what you're absorbing. I love that. So, Prit, if I'm at kind of a networking event, or I'm talking to somebody either maybe via Zoom or whatnot, what are some keywords I might hear from people that would make them a good referral, contact, or connection for you?
Well, Scott, before you actually start to recognize these keywords, I think it's important to go into every single conversation with an open mind. Okay, that's the first thing that I first, because I think that when you go with the intention of, okay, I need to network, I need to go and build contacts, most often it actually restricts your conversation and it stops you from building relationships with people. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have figured. So every time I enter a conversation, I actually do not have any keywords in my mind. I make sure that I'm going in with an open mind and taking the conversation where it needs to lead to. And the minute, I realize that, okay, this conversation is building, I'm getting to know the other person. Maybe it doesn't happen in the first conversation. Maybe it actually happens in the second or the third. In the second or the third, I think a few keywords that I do pick up would be when they start telling me about the problems that they're facing in their marketing for their business, or whether it is someone else's marketing that's, they have a contact who's struggling with their marketing. So those are the keywords that I would look for, especially when someone has a pain point that they're talking about and you can solve it. Those are good keywords to look out for.
Love it. Okay. So what I was saying is, if I'm at a networking event, because I believe in 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, I'm more interested in your story than you are about mine. So if I hear somebody talking about they're lacking a little bit in the marketing department, not getting noticed as much as they really want to, then there'd be a great referral for you. I love it. So when you start working with individuals or companies to help them level up their marketing side of the business, Prit, is there any secret sauce to helping them find their blind spots within their business?
Well, what is my secret sauce? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I think the first and foremost thing is that I understand where they're coming from. I take a lot of time, Scott, to understand their mindset. I understand where they're coming from, what is their vision for their business, what is their mission. And I invest a lot of time understanding why they are taking the decisions that they are taking, whether it is coming from a place of fear, whether it's coming from a lack of resources. All of those things are important for me to be able to be a good marketing consultant. When I am a marketing consultant, I'm not just giving marketing strategies. I'm also giving mindset strategies. I'm also giving business strategies. With an MBA degree, I can look at a business pretty holistically and I can see every aspect of it. On the other hand, I am pretty self-aware as a person and mindset is very important to me. So I'm also able to look at that aspect for the business. So I think my secret sauce is that I genuinely, care about them. I go all out for them. And the third is that I take the time to understand every single aspect of themselves and their business as well.
Love it. So maybe while you're in the discovery process with them and making sure that you're a right fit for them and they're a right fit for you, Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
What they would ask me that they never do.
Mhm.
I think that they most likely do. They do ask me, a few of the questions that they do ask me is, well, why are you qualified, or how can you help me? But
Thank you for saying that.
yes,
Because there's a lot of scams in this world, okay? And a
yes,
lot of
yes,
people
absolutely.
approach me daily. Oh, I can do this for you. And then I dig, because I don't spend a dime until I dig. You know what I'm saying? I personally do it. I don't have my team do it. I do it before I spend a dime, because it's a good chunk of change, you know, because it's your reputation that's really on the line, taking your advice and whatnot. So with that and digging, because that's the reason why I ask kind of those questions, is because, I mean, you're upstanding, the proof's in the pudding, it's out there. You know, I really appreciate you saying it like that, that you actually care and you listen.
So far, I think all my questions usually do their homework before they meet up with me. They ask me all the questions, and I've not yet to meet a client who has lacked in their research on me. So, I mean, that pretty much tells me how invested they are to work with me as well. So it's a sign on my end as well that they have done their homework. They're, equally invested as I am in their business.
Awesome. What are your strengths?
Oh, how many do you want me to name?
Oh, I love the confidence. Love it.
Oh, okay.
Give me your top strength.
My top strength is my self-confidence.
Okay.
I think it was right there. I think I've always been very confident, and I think it is one of my strengths. Even if it is something that is new that I'm taking on and I am scared, there are a little bit of fears around it, I am confident that I will find my way through it, whatever it is.
I love that about your self-confidence, because your enthusiasm to make people want to level up bleeds into them and their mindset and their vision. I love that. So let's talk about your weaknesses. Give me your
that I have quite a few too.
Okay.
Yes, I do have quite a few.
Give me your one that stands out.
One of it that stands out, I think, would be how impulsive I am. And I think that it's definitely worked against me as an entrepreneur, because as a business owner, I would see something and I would impulsively buy it because someone else recommended it, or, because it was the shiny object syndrome working its way into my life. Yes. So I think, of course, part of being an entrepreneur is recognizing your weaknesses and either figuring out ways to overcome them, or if you can't overcome them, it is to find ways to work around them. So I guess I'm pretty self-aware about my weaknesses. And when it comes to my impulsiveness, there is something that I do. I either wait 72 hours before I make a purchase decision now. I wait. No matter what, it's a rule that I set for myself, because I know that this is a very inherent characteristic of me. So I would rather work around it than try to overcome it, because it's a whole different process, Scott.
I love that you say that, because I've been caught in that trap as well. I used to, back in my day, I'm 50 years old. So back when I was younger, checkbooks were still a thing, right? So I would leave my checkbook in my car if I went to an event and people were selling stuff, because then I'd have to take that walk. And I grew up in Michigan. It was usually cold, right? So I'd take that walk and I'd be like, do I really need this? And sometimes I get in my car and drive away, from the event. I love that you said that. So may I ask your age?
Oh, yeah. I'm 29 years old. I'm going to be 30 in October.
Wow. I mean, with all due respect, you look like you're 20.
Yes, I know.
And I love it. I love it. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
No, actually, I have not.
No worries. There's this guy. It's old. It's an old movie. It's an 85, but it's a classic. So watch it sometime. If you want a good laugh, watch it. And also a lot of good lessons. But there's this guy, Marty McFly, and he gets in a DeLorean car and he goes back in time. Okay. I want to get in that DeLorean with you and go back to the 18-year-old Prit. Now, is there any good knowledge nuggets? That's what we call them here at Time to Shine today. But is there any good knowledge nuggets or anything you could share with the 18-year-old Prit with your 10, 11 years experience, and maybe not so much change anything, because your journey is awesome, but to maybe help her like shorten that learning curve or blast through maybe just a little quicker?
Oh, yeah, so many. When I was 18, Scott, I think it would be helpful for me to explain my mindset at the time. One, I was very self-destructive at the time. I kept on involving myself in toxic personal relationships. There was just so much self-inflicted drama in my life. And I was also acting out because I was very, very lost with respect to the direction and purpose of my life. So the 18-year-old me is very, very different from the person that I am today. It's almost like, one, I can't recognize her, but at the same time, I have so much love for her.
What kind of knowledge bombs would you drop on her, though?
Okay, perfect. So knowledge bombs, I guess I would say, is if you're feeling lost in life and if you're feeling that there is no sense of direction, I would say pause and relax, because you will have it figured out pretty soon. It will all come together. Everything will make sense. You just have to give it time. Because if you work from a place of fear, which is what usually happens when you're feeling lost and when you're feeling directionless, most likely you're not going to be making the healthiest choices. So when you're feeling lost, when you're feeling directionless, I would say pause, do absolutely nothing. Just trust that everything will come together for your highest good.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and your death date on your tombstone. Hopefully it's a long ways down the road, but how do you want people to remember your dash?
Oh, that's quite a deep question, Scott. I think
my coach made me write my eulogy when I first started working with her 15 years ago. So I want to know how you want your dash remembered.
The one who made a difference.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
In what way?
Made a difference in any way, Scott, whether it is helping businesses with their marketing, whether it's helping the people in my life in some way to transform their life for the better. Wow. So I guess that would be one thing that I want to be known for.
Love that. So what is Prit's definition of a life well lived?
It's to have whatever fills your joy, your heart with joy. Whatever you define as success, that's it. That's a life well lived.
That's beautiful. And from such a young person, that's so refreshing to hear, because you didn't make it about yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's just huge. And I think that you've went through a lot of change and a little bit of turmoil as well within that change, but we need that to grow. You need pain. When you work out, you got to have pain to grow, right? I love that. I love that. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And one day when Prit is stateside, I'm sure we'll meet face to face in the flesh here and discuss these questions. We'll probably talk 15, 20 minutes about each one of these questions. But Prit, you have 5 seconds to answer them with no explanations. So I know you like to be energetic and stuff, but you got to lock into it. If not, we got a buzzer. I'm kidding. We don't have a buzzer.
Let's do it.
But are you ready to level up?
Oh, yes, Scott. Let's do this.
Do this. Awesome. Prit, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Just go for it.
Yes. Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
5 seconds. I think I would say my resourcefulness.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Other than the marketingnomad.co, and of course, Time to Shine Today, my shameless plug here, what other website does Prit like to go to level up?
YouTube, definitely. YouTube. Every single bit of information
People forget it's a website. I love it. Yes, I love that you said that. So were you ever recommended a book that just blew your mind? What is it?
5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma.
No, Robin Sharma. I love it. I love it. I know him. So that's awesome. Oh, wow. Fantastic. Prit, what's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
The one where they're crying on the side, like they're laughing, crying on the side.
Laughing on the side. Love it.
Yeah.
Nicknames growing up?
Chitty, which means butterfly.
Oh, wow. Say that again.
Chitty.
Okay.
Chitty.
Got Chitty. Awesome. Awesome. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Chess.
Love it. What's your go-to ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
Awesome. You and I are going to hang sometime. I love it. There's a sandwich named the Prit. What is on that sandwich?
There's potato, lots of potato, French fries probably in it.
What did you? I have to look this up. So I'm breaking my own rules right now. But she is a potato fries muncher in a 5-hour napper. Just to have to put that out there. So I love it. Is there any favorite charity and organization you'd like to give your time or money to?
PETA.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I love it. Love it. The last question But what is, you can elaborate on this one, but what do you feel is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
90s, hands down.
90s, really?
Yeah, I'm a 90s baby, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you are. That's right. You're going to be 30, right? You said
yes.
So that would have put you born in
92.
92. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
I was 2 years into my Navy career at the time. So you are just blowing it out of the water. I love it. I love it. So, Prit, how can we find you, love?
Oh, you can find me on every single platform there is as The Marketing Nomad, and on YouTube, on Instagram, on my podcast as well, The Marketing Nomad. I'm right there.
I love it. You got to tune into her podcast, Squad. It's actually, you got some of the energy today, but her energy is absolutely fantastic.
Well, and there's more energy coming up in my book, Scott.
Yes, and it is. And it's from 0 to 4 figures. So tell us a little bit about that book that's coming out in August of 22.
Yeah, so my book is 0 to 4 Figures, Lessons Learned by a Broke CEO. And the book is basically a compilation of the stories and lessons that I've learned in the last 3 years of my entrepreneurial journey. It comes along with its own frameworks, its own learning tactics, its own performance models, which I'm pretty sure is going to help every single person who's either starting on their entrepreneurial journey, or even if you are a seasoned entrepreneur as well.
I love it. I love it. And will it be on all of like the bookstores and whatnot, all of the websites?
Yes,
and Squad?
Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, everywhere.
I love it. And Squad, I'm going to do a giveaway for my good friend Prit here of 0 to 4 figures. And anyone that puts in Prit Rocks, P-R-I-T Rocks, in any of the comments, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, across the board, I will have a signed copy of Prit's book sent to you. I can't wait to dig into the book as well, just to hear the stories that come out of this young lady at such a young age and what she's experienced. That you want her on your team, Squad. You have to have her on your team. So, Prit, if you could do me one last solid, leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Perfect. This is something that I personally resonate with, and that is, if you find something that you are truly and really passionate about, I think that you owe it to yourself to follow it through. Not everyone is lucky enough to find passion in their lives. And if you found it, you gotta just make sure you're, seeing your vision through.
Like you said, go for it. I love it. And Squad, we have had just an awesome conversation, basically a masterclass here with my good friend Prit, who realized that her engineer days were numbered. She did it because it's kind of what her culture really expected her to do. But she got ballsy, man, and just got out of her own way. And she found that passion that meant something to her, that helped her level up. She had a little bit of the subconscious business push from her mother and her father that were entrepreneurs, and she, even when she was young, she didn't know she was doing it, but she was able to absorb marketing and then found out, man, she's sitting in that classroom the first day and she's answering questions. She said, this is what I found that she wants to do. She found herself at ground zero, decided to start something on her own. And she knew that traveling and marketing were her passion. So she can literally live the laptop lifestyle. Prit's more interested in hearing your story than telling you hers. And that's the number one thing I look for in anyone I hire. When I'm spending my money, you're listening to me. Okay. Any other time, I'm usually the one listening, but you're listening to what I want. If you're facing marketing challenges, you're just not getting noticed. Let me make a warm introduction to my good friend Prit. She listens intently with all her senses, not just her ears. She listens with her eyes. She listens with her posture. She really leans in, which I call listening with her neck. She's leaning in to the conversation. Her self-confidence that she has is awesome. It's fantastic for such a young woman. And that self-confidence bleeds into her clients, which when you can help someone else's self-confidence level up, then it's a win-win across the board. She recognizes her weaknesses, but she also found help. She got her asking gear, is what I like to say. She asked for help when needed. She would tell her younger self or she wants to tell you, if you're stuck or feeling lost of a sense of direction, just pause, use that P word and relax, be persistent, and it'll all come together. She will be remembered as someone that made a serious difference. She's literally planting trees that she probably will never sit in the shade of, because that's how much of a go-giver she is. She wants you to do things that fills your heart with joy. And if you find something that you're passionate about, you owe it to yourself to go after it. So like she said, go for it. And Prit, that's what you do. You level up your health, you level up your wealth. You're humble, yet hungry and curious. You've earned your varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on. I love your guts. Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah.
Bye now.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.